Hi, welcome to the Success Portal with me, Dr. Franklin, a life strategist. Today I'll be talking to you about the subject, surviving a crisis. As we go through life, we will get to a point where we go through a crisis. There are mainly four types of crisis that one could go through, and there is a personal crisis, a regional crisis, a national crisis, or a global crisis. So, when it comes to a personal crisis, one may have a financial crisis. Maybe they may get sacked at work and lose their income, or maybe their business goes under and they have to suffer liquidation. One may also have a situation where they have marital trouble and have to undergo a divorce, or a huge family altercation culminating in the separation of siblings. One may also undergo a health crisis that may result in one being admitted in the hospital for many months on end. And when they come out of that state, they might even suffer financial loss or may also be out of touch with what has been happening in the outside world. One may also undergo a national crisis. And in a national crisis, a country might be at war with another nation, or the country may have huge problems, and a huge healthcare problem, or a huge economic problem that may cause its citizens to suffer. At the moment, we are going through a global crisis. And if you are living many years from now, this is year 2020, and there is a huge global crisis going on right now with a terrible respiratory virus that has afflicted so many people and caused them to develop multiple organ failure, culminating in their deaths. During this global crisis, due to the current evidence that is out there, based on what happened in 1918, there was a plague that devastated humanity during that time. And the lessons from that plague is that social distancing was what was not practiced at that time, that culminated in the death of so many people. And having learned from that, in 2020, social distancing is being preached by all the different governments all around the world. And people are being made to stay at home. And if you are living in 2020, you know what I'm talking about, how difficult it is to stay at home for 24 hours. And for many months on end, people have been staying in their homes for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and it's not easy. But that's what has been found to be effective if we want to flatten the curve and reduce the number of people that contract this virus. So, coming to the message for today, how do you survive a crisis? As I said, a crisis might be personal, a crisis might be provincial, might be national, might be global, like what we are going through right now. And though we're actually going through a global crisis, I also know that there are people who are also going through personal crises. And one needs to know how to survive through a crisis. One of the things I've noted and when people go through crisis is that they panic. The worst thing that you can do for yourself in a crisis is to panic. Don't panic. That's the first thing. Don't panic. Sit down, think about what you're going through. You may be going through a crisis, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Going through a crisis does not mean you need to take your life as a way of exit. One person said, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." And the wonderful book, the Holy Book, says that if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. So when you're going through a crisis, it's not the time to give up. It's the time to be stronger. It's the time to recruit your emotional muscles so that you can be able to go through the turbulent situation. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. So when you're going through a crisis, another important thing is never ever make a decision based on your present circumstance. Don't make a decision concerning your future in the current crisis, because sometimes you might make an emotional decision that you may regret in the future. Whenever you make a decision in a crisis, think things through. Look at the pros, look at the cons, and then make an informed decision. In the current global crisis that we are going through right now, many people are giving up. Some people actually think this is the end of the world. Some people think that they will probably not be able to fulfill their dreams in 2020. But I want to tell you that if you're going to be successful, you always have to think outside of the box. You always have to be the fish that is swimming in the opposite direction of the others. In order to succeed or survive in a crisis, you need to have faith. You need to have hope. You need to know that this crisis is not here to last. It will definitely pass. And you'll still be around after the crisis. So you need to have a plan. And you need not abort your plans for the year. You need to continue with your plans. This is the time that you need to go back to your annual plans and look at them and begin to ask yourself, though I'm not able to go out, what is it on my set of plans or on the set of things that I need to achieve this year that I can do even indoors? Some of you set plans to read books or to do some form of self-development in this year. This is the time to do that. This is the time when you can use all those free hours to read books, all those free hours to learn a new skill. Don't let this current lockdown lock down your mind, lock down your aspirations, and lock down your morale. How do you survive in a crisis? Be thankful. Be thankful about every single day and for every single day that you live. Because the more thankful you are, the more you begin to see all the positive things. And the more you look at the positive things, the negative things tend to have less of an effect on you. They tend to have less of an emotional draining effect on your life. How do you survive in a crisis? You need to be able to be a visionary. And I'm not just talking about having a plan here. I'm talking about being able to engage the eyes of your mind, your inner eyes, to see beyond the current circumstance. You need to be able to engage your imagination. See yourself beyond this crisis. And that is how you will survive any crisis in your life. Because what you see is what you will get. Thank you very much for listening to me. This is Dr. Franklin, life strategist. Let's not give up. This crisis will not last. We are definitely coming out of it. Till next time, goodbye.